Hey kids, it's Pastor Winston. I have a question for you this week. If you were to look for God, where do you think that you would find God? Would it be in outer space? Would it be somewhere far, far away? Well, in the Christmas story, the three wise men came from far, far away and they were looking for God. And where do you think they found God? Well, as we know from the Christmas story, they found God as a little baby inside a manger and basically around farm animals. Isn't that, in a way, the last place that you would expect to find God? This week, we're talking about how we can find God in all these unexpected places. I mean, God being inside a vulnerable little baby, it seems like the last place we would look because many of us often think of God as really powerful, the creator of the universe, right? So I want you to think about that. Where might we be able to find God? So I have a little story to read to you that you may have already heard me read once in the past. But just like with our bedtime stories, right? Sometimes we want to hear them more than once. So I hope you enjoy this story again. Maybe God is like that too. I live in the city where the sidewalks and subway cars and buildings and buses are packed with people, but I've never seen God before. Grandma, does God live in the city? I ask one morning at breakfast. Yes, God is here, she says. You just need to know where to look. Whenever you see love, joy, peace, God is there, she says, stirring her tea. Wherever there is patience, kindness, and goodness, God is there too. When you see faithfulness, gentleness, and self control, that's God's Spirit at work. On the way to school, I'm on the lookout. I see a bus full of tourists and count 10 bright yellow taxis. I spy a man sweeping a stoop, and Grandma and I laugh when we see a tiny dog wearing a fluffy purple sweater. At school, Grandma hands me my lunch and hugs me close before she says goodbye. That's what love looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. On the swings, I pump so hard I see over the wall into the alley. My friends shout, higher, higher, as my feet fly way up into the sky. That's what joy looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. Outside, a car horn blasts and sirens scream, but my classroom is quiet and calm. That's what peace looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I try to tie my shoes, but the laces tangle around my finger. My teacher sits down beside me and shows me how to tie them. That's what patience looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. On the way home, I see a doorman wearing a red cape and a hat with a shiny brim. He's holding the door for a man using a wheelchair. The man moves very slowly, and the doorman chats with him and smiles. That's what kindness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. While I'm setting the table for dinner, there's a knock at the door. It's our neighbor from downstairs bringing us a loaf of bread. It's golden brown and warm and wrapped in a thin white towel. That's what goodness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. After dinner, I work on my homework while Grandma stands at the kitchen sink washing dishes and humming to herself, just like she does every single night. That's what faithfulness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. At bedtime, Grandma sits at the edge of my bed singing a lullaby and stroking my head. She tucks my blanket up close around me. That's what gentleness looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I lie in bed watching the curtains flutter. I want to talk about that dog we saw today and how high I can swing, but Grandma says that once I'm tucked in, I have to stay in bed until morning. I close my eyes and try to fall asleep. That's what self control looks like to me. Maybe God is like that too. I saw God over and over again today. Whenever I saw love, joy, and peace, and wherever there was patience, kindness, and goodness. When I saw faithfulness, gentleness, and self control, I saw God's Spirit at work. I don't see God the way I see my friends or the streetlights or the river, but I see signs of God's Spirit all around me, right here in the city. I know what God is like. Maybe I can be like that too. So, as you can see from the story, we can't always see God in the ordinary way that we see one another and the world, but we can know that God's Spirit is at work, almost like wind, right? When the trees are blowing in the wind, we can't see the wind, but we can see its effects because the leaves are moving. We can see effects of even the air moving in and out of our bodies. So, God is around us in the same way. So, be on the lookout for God this week. Don't forget to do week 3 of your crafts in your Peace Powers boxes. This week, you're going to be making a little baby Jesus to put in a manger, and you're also going to add farm animals, barn animals into the scene at your nativity. So refer to your booklets and the directions, and you can always have your grown-ups help you with that. Merry Christmas, and see you next time. Go Peace Powers.